What's going on, rock stars? Listen, today we're talking about what got you here will not get you there. It is time to prepare. Excuse me, it is time to prepare. We're talking about New World Corona, and this topic that I'm sharing with you today, I'm going to ask you to put everything to the side and to be present with me today. I am fired up. Look, it's late into my evening. I didn't want to come here live, but I'm coming here live for you because this message is necessary. And what I've realized is nobody is talking about this right now. I was hard pressed to find anybody. I couldn't even find any influencers, any thought leaders really giving you the real of what's going on right now. And there's so much fluff, like, yep, things are going to go back to normal. Oh, it's almost over. All of this stuff that's going on. And I got to tell you that we have entered a new era. So, Rockstar, if you're joining me live on the Facebooks, engage with me. Let me know that you're here and share this out to anybody who needs to hear this message. Share this out on all of your platforms. If you are listening on the 1% Live podcast on Spotify, Stitcher Radio, iHeartRadio, Google Play, all of the different channels and stations and places that you can possibly watch us, listen to us, whatever it is, we welcome you. So thank you for being here, and your participation, your sharing of our message is what helps us grow. So let's talk about this today. And I want to really make this hit home for you. First of all, let me just make sure that I am live. Give me just a second. All right, rock stars, it should be good to go. All right, cool. Okay, we're good. There we go. I see you. Hey, Jeff. Hey, Caitlin. What's going on, Josiah? There we are. And we got some video today, right? What's going on, Mar? Hey, Caitlin. All right, rock stars. This is some serious stuff today. So if you hear some passion in my voice, it's because it's there. And those of you who are here with me live, Jeff's in Thailand. How incredible. You know me. You know that when I tell you something, it is coming from the bottom of my heart, and it is out of my passion and my love and my concern for each of you, and man, for myself included, right? Because we are all, quote unquote, in this together. Rockstar, if you are worried and concerned about the state of your job right now, you should be. If you're questioning how you're going to be able to serve your future customers and what it is going to take to get them to buy from you, you should be. Here's why today's episode is an absolute must listen. If you are not equipped for this new world era that we have entered into, you will fail. You will fail. And we're going to talk about how waiting to see how it goes, we'll just wait and see what happens, is what is going to cost you. Not even in the long run, in the short run. So I'm here to tell you what nobody else is talking about right now, that thing that will keep you not only in the game and relevant, but give you that edge to cut through the inevitable and upcoming pain. Yes, I said it. Here's what's happening. I want you to imagine this right now. And I'm going to tell you how to get through this, okay? I promise you. So stick with me. What's happening is this. Imagine right before a tsunami happens. What happens in the ocean? If you're sitting on the beach, right? We heard about this in Phuket or Phuket, however you say it. When people were on the beach, the animals ran up, right? And the people sat around and they watched. And what happened was this. The ocean got ripped out. It literally sucked itself out. So you couldn't see for miles. The fish were flopping. They were dying on the ocean floor just before the tidal wave came in. And that tsunami decimated the world in many ways. And that is what we're going into. And I really don't like talking about this. But if I don't tell you the real, I don't know if anybody else will. And here's the reality of the situation. Many of your companies, if you are employed, still have decimated their entire workforce. They have cut up to 85%, and some of them maybe even more, of their staff. Hospitality industry, decimated. Okay, will it come back? Yes. Will it come back soon? No. The ripple has not even begun yet. So I want you to think about what happens, okay, when you literally shut down the world. Guys, it has been months now that the global economy is shut down. This is unprecedented territory. We have never experienced this before. And it's going to have a major impact. And if you are not ready and preparing now, you will not make it. The rich will get richer, the poor will get really freaking poor fast, and the middle class is going to be wiped the you know what out. So, man. Oh, by the way, did I introduce myself? My name is JoanieDhillon, for those of you who don't know me, peak performance coach and trainer and host of the 1% Life show and podcast. And man, if you're a new listener, welcome again. If you have been listening for a long time, we are back, we are up, we are running, we are hosting a show soon to be 5 days a week. We're going to be getting these podcast episodes out for you. And here's the reality. When you go back to work, if you were lucky enough to keep your job, if you're an employee, budgets have already been slashed, okay? We're not operating on the same budgets as before. There is no possible way. Why? Because no income has come in for months. Very little to no income, apart from a very few select industries that are thriving. If you have anything to do with making it through coronavirus and maybe false eyelashes, you're thriving right now, okay? If you have to do with the pharmaceutical industries, oh yeah, they're thriving right now, and they will be. And that's a whole nother story. But most of us, our companies, our own businesses, are being drastically impacted, okay? And the reality is that when budgets get slashed, employees are the first to go, okay? And those who stay are staying because they're contributing significantly to the bottom line. That is the only thing that matters in an economy like one that we have never seen, that we are on the precipice, it has not begun yet, of entering into. So here's what's happening. Operating efficiencies are not optional anymore. It's not it would be nice to be selling this. It would be nice to have our sales reps closing this. It would be nice to be, closing this percentage of deals. That's not an option anymore. It's not an it would be nice. It is the only reality. And anybody who's not contributing to that bottom line, getting out of the red and into the black fast for most companies, will not be there. And if this is your own business, well, then you know exactly what I mean. And employees who are not cutting it for you, who are not creating and contributing and bringing value to your business, will not be there. You cannot afford to keep them on board. You can't afford it. As a business owner, you better be adding to my bottom line or you will be cut. You better be helping me think of how to grow, or we can't afford to keep you here. You're a liability. See, you as an employee are either an asset or a liability to your company right now. And you better figure out which side is going to pay you to be on, because one of those sides, you're not going to stick around. So if you're lucky enough to have stuck around, know this. your reality is not guaranteed. The current reality that you're in is not guaranteed. And this is the problem. People are scared. They are frustrated. They are just anxious. Like, I get it. I hear it every single day. I feel it. I hear it from all of you. I don't know if I have a job. I have a job now, but who knows what that means in 24, 30 days, 60 days, whatever. Shoot, 2 hours from now, right? And I have dear friends who have had to slash their businesses down to 30% of their employees. Some of them have cut out hundreds of thousands. Like, it's just crazy of cost. And guess what? That often gets down to employees, right? So the reality is that if you're not operating, if you're a sales professional or a business owner, and you're not operating at the top echelon of your industry, your company and your industry, okay, you will find yourself cut and left to fend for yourself. It is a forced reality right now, okay? It is not the strong will survive. They're the only ones who are capable of surviving. And it's not an option, it's a must, okay, for you. So there are industries that are going to take 1.5 to 2 years to come back, to be fully revived. It could be longer. We don't know. We don't even have data that shows us how we get through times like this. We have data for a normal recession. Guys, we are on the verge of a depression, and many economists are calling this a depression right now. So if this is scaring you, it should. Because for some of you, it's the wake-up call that you need right now. Stop waiting and putting your livelihood in the hands of your company. Stop waiting and putting the livelihood in the hands of everything being back to normal. It's not. You're not going back into the same world. You aren't hearing the conversations that are high up. You're only getting what's getting trickled down. And I promise you, it's very little of what is really going on. So the reality is that the top executives of these corporations, they know what's happening, and their actions right now are dictating their beliefs. So when you see them slashing their staff by 85% or more, then what does that say about their belief system right now? What does that say about what's really happening? Okay. Now, again, it's going to come back. It's not going to look the same. Companies are having to pivot. They will never operate the same as they once did before. If there's any company that even remotely thinks that they will be in business, if they're lucky enough to make it out of this, if they will be in business before, yeah, Caitlin, I'm here. I'm delivering you the real, and I appreciate that you're receiving it. If there's any company that thinks that simply going back and operating the same way as before is going to allow them to have a business, they're completely fooled. Every single operation, every single procedure, every single process is being completely scrutinized and evaluated right now during this time. And it has to be, because this will happen again. It will. And it could be in a different form. But if we, you and I, are not prepared, we will suffer more than ever. So it comes down to this. The identity, what got you to where you're at? Let's talk about that. So what got you to where you are right now? Let me just say this. Who you are got you to where you are, and it will not get you to where you want to be. See, there's an identity that you hold, that you held. I'm not even saying hold, because who we are right now after being in this quarantine is not who we were when we entered. Would you agree? Let me know that you agree. Because I know that I am not the same person as I was when I entered into this corona. I am being forced to think completely different than I had ever thought before. I am being forced to do things that I've never done before. I am forced to think in ways that I've never thought before, and innovative and resourcefulness, and that's growth. When we grow, our identity evolves. It shifts, and it has shifted. So the old identity got you to where You are right now, but you have now entered into a new identity. And let me tell you that where you want to go will require a complete shedding of the old self. And let's just call it what it is, a death of your former self. It is literally the dying of your old self. That will not get you to where you're going and where you want to be. It will not. Nothing about who you were will get you there. And here's why. Competition is fierce. When I say budgets get slashed, efficiencies increase, it is a forced performance. Like literally, you know how they say cream rises to the top? This is more like we almost need to think of a different metaphor because it's so much more than that right now. It's so much more than that. And the reality is that if now, right now, you're not defining that identity and getting clear on who specifically you need to be in order to not just survive, okay? And it's okay. Maybe you just want to merely survive, right? Maybe you just want to merely survive. And that's okay. But if we want to do more than just survive, if we want to totally exceed all expectations to thrive, if we want to reach new heights of influence and impact, success and significance, if you want to be a 1%er in your industry, you will have to radically transform and shed the old self, like literally a snakeskin falling off. We need to become new beings. We need to birth new thoughts and new beliefs. We need to form new habits and new behaviors. We need to have a death of the old self identity and a shedding of the old self. Again, your old self no longer serves you. Accept it so you can begin to move on. And here's the good part, and the silver lining, as everyone's calling it. You've already changed. The process of metamorphosis has already begun. You've already entered into the cocoon. You're already in it. You're in quarantine. You're in the proverbial cocoon. You're metamorphosizing already. You're changing now. You're not the same person as you entered this quarantine. So why not, Rockstar? Why not keep changing? Why not continue to transform, to metamorphosize? Why not keep evolving? Why not do what most won't? Why not separate yourself from the crowd, not in a small way, but make them completely irrelevant? The reality is that you need and see, words don't even do this justice right now. Competitive edge is such a small, it's like it's not doing it service. It's doing a complete injustice by calling it get a competitive edge. No, you need to, and I wish if I could just drop some serious F-bombs for magnitude right now, I would. Like, you need more than a competitive edge, right? And so the first thought, like, now you're like, okay, so how do I do this, right, Joanie? Like, how do I figure out, I don't want to just survive, right? Maybe you do not just want to survive. Maybe you want to thrive through this new world era. And the question becomes this: who do you need to be in order to, let's just start with this, to survive, okay? Because you will never get to thriving unless you can figure out surviving. Real talk. So who do you need, and write this down, who do you need to be to survive this new world era? This is going to require you to do some research. This is going to require you to dig in, right? Because when the answers within become louder than the sounds outside, right? When the noise inside supersedes the noise outside, then you're going somewhere. When the noise outside is louder than what's happening inside, what that means is that they're taking you somewhere. And that somewhere is not where you want to be. And I want you to think of it this way. Anybody seen, oh God, what? The Matrix, right? I think almost everyone's probably seen The Matrix. Oh God. Oh, Raimi, with this rest in peace, Raimi, I didn't see that you had posted that. One of my closest friends in the world just wrote RIP hashtag Raimi, and I literally just almost lost it live on this show. So thank you, Raimi. Okay. Yes, the death of self, right? And this is the reality, girl. Ooh, all right. So this is the reality. Dang, heart just skipped 4 beats. All right. Man, talk about a pattern interrupt. If anyone does one, it's this girl right here. We used to work across tables from one another. And I'll tell you what, I've digressed. Yep, we're going there. And she would take her hands in the middle of like me being in a very serious conversation about to ask for a lot of money. And she, all of a sudden, out of nowhere, she would slam her hands down on the table. And I would hear, "Do you smell popcorn?" And I'm like, something like that was how it went. So it's only appropriate that she totally threw me off my game, or I got thrown off my game with her. All right, I digress. Woo. So, rockstars, here's what it comes down to. Who do you need to be to survive, right? And once you figure out who you need to be to survive this, so like, what do you need to, what skills do you need to cultivate, right? Who do I need to just survive? Do you need to go out and add some additional income into your household right now? Maybe stop waiting for something to change. Maybe you do need to do that, right? So once you figure out who you need to be to survive, so these are characteristics of being, ways of being, right? Do you need to be, as in the past you were maybe a little passive, right? That's not going to cut it now. That's not going to cut it. You have to be somebody who is relentless. You have to be someone with passion, with someone with purpose, someone with a fire in your belly. If you don't have the confidence, you better cultivate confidence now. You better create the confidence that you're lacking in that old self. Don't worry, it's already gone. You're already transforming. So now you get to choose which characteristics of being, which ways of being are critical to your new identity going into new world, this new world, crazy effing Corona era. And then ask yourself, once you figure out who you need to be to survive, ask yourself, who do I need to be to thrive? To thrive. No, none of us are mediocre. If you're listening to the 1% Life show, I know that you're listening because you know you are meant for more. Am I right? You know you're meant for more. You know you deserve more, and simply surviving is not an option for you. And ask yourself, what if I could thrive? What if I could thrive through this? We don't know. It's not going to be a year. It's probably not going to be 2. It's going to be more, right? And it's never going back to the old thing. Know that. Never. We look different. And different's okay. Change is good. We don't know what that looks like. But what if, Rockstar, what if you could thrive through this? Who would you need to be in order to thrive? What would be necessary for you to thrive? And what specific identity? And I want you to, I know you're hearing these words that I'm saying right now, like these words of identity and survival and thriving and all of that. And it's one thing to hear something, and it's another thing to really integrate it, right? To get it, to just take it in and like, shoot, okay, I've got to think about this. I've got to spend time. I don't care if it takes a day or 2 or a week, but who do I need to be to not just survive once I figure that out, but to thrive through this? Because Rockstar, I'm telling you, there is opportunity in crisis. Millionaires are being born every day right now. And those same millionaires are going to go out And this ripple that I'm talking about of like disaster, well, they're going to do the opposite. They're going to create a ripple of joy, of impact, of service in the world. Because when you make money to the level that, like, at some point you can't, what, how many Ferraris, Lamborghinis, like houses in the world can you have, right? And you're like, a lot, sure. At some point, money doesn't become that significant anymore. At some point, you figure out that you get more joy and pleasure in not buying a new pair of Louboutins or a new Lambo or all the other stuff, but you get more joy and fulfillment in writing a check for $1 million to a cause that moves you. And I can only imagine, because I have not yet done that. And I know that that thought of writing a $1 million check lights me the F up. It does. And a lot of them. And I will never be able to get there until I lead at a level that nobody else is leading at, that I know, in terms of service right now. Right? I mean, I guess I know a lot of people who are leading at that level, but like, in my head, I have to be at that level of where the masses are not playing. And you can choose to be at that level too. And it requires you thinking with a new lens, right? Like, you see me wear these glasses all the time, right? You see me put these on, and yeah, there's a purpose, right? They're blue light blockers. I'm looking at a screen and lights at night. It's junk light going into my body. I'm a biohacker. Yeah, that's true. And every time I put these on, there's a new identity that happens the moment I go live, right? Like, boom, all right, persona on, let's go, right? And like, I feel it. So who is that identity for you? Maybe he or she has an alter ego name, that person that you are now becoming, that you are metamorphosizing into, because that person is the only person who will not only survive, but thrive through this. And the last question I want you to answer when you're going through this identity question, right? Identity is about this, right? If you've been in any of our programs, we're running a new challenge that's coming up in the next couple of weeks called Create Your 1% Life Challenge. And in there, we talk about identity. It's one thing to believe you're somebody. It's another thing to subconsciously know that you are that person. And our conscious mind is not that part of our mind that creates the outcomes and the results that we want. It's that part of our mind that says, yeah, I can do this. Yeah, I'm going to make it through. Yeah, I got this. I'm going to be the top of my industry. I'm going to be number one. I'm going to make that multiple 6, multiple 7, multiple 8, whatever, multiple 9-figure income. Like, I'm going to do that, whatever that is or means for you. But that has nothing to do with you getting there. You're not going to be able to grind your way to the top. You're not going to be able to work harder. It's not about working harder, Rockstar. I need you to understand that. It's not about putting in 10, 12, 18 hours in a day, if that's even possible for you. You have got to be more in order to have more, in order to just survive, let alone thrive. So what skills must you cultivate to rise to the top during this time? And begin to cultivate those now, not to just compete, but literally to make obsolete anybody else who's in your way. And I don't say this from a scarcity perspective. I say this because this is the lens that you must have on. It's, I have to be. It's not a choice. It's a must. Who am I going to be different than anybody else? What is the value proposition that I am committed to bringing to this world from here on out? And what specifically must I begin to do in terms of behaviors and actions now in order to begin to cultivate this identity? And then how are you going to hold yourself accountable to that new identity and reinforce it? Because your subconscious mind learns through habit and repetition, right? So the more you repeat, the more it becomes unconsciously or subconsciously installed. So you have to install the new identity. I want to leave you with this quote. Well, it's actually me. This quote of mine. There is a reason, let me start again. There is a season to reap and a season to sow. When adversity strikes, it's your opportunity to now grow. Rockstar, I hope you enjoyed this episode of The 1% Life, whether you're watching this live here on the Facebooks or the replay, or you're tuning in on one of our podcast channels on iTunes Radio, Spotify, Stitcher, iHeart, all of the Google Plays, whatever it is. If you have not yet connected with me, take a screenshot of this episode and tag me on the gram, Instagram at JoanieDhillon, Dillon with an H, and follow us on the 1% Life. Rockstar, it's such a pleasure being here with you. Share this out, tag somebody in the comments, share it out via email, however you share. This is how we grow. Thank you for being a continued supporter of the 1% Life Show. I am here for you. We are here through this together, and you get to choose. When we talked about the Matrix, here's why. There is a red pill, and this is the pill that most of the world is following. It's the pill of fear. It's the pill of adversity. It's the pill of uncertainty. It's the pill that listens to the media. It's the pill that is simply allowing themselves to be programmed. Or you have the opportunity now to step up and to take the blue pill. That's right. And that blue pill is filled with hope, with certainty, with clarity, with opportunity, and so much more. So, rock stars, it's your choice. You get to choose. Until next time on the 1% Life Show, get out there and change some lives today. Peace.